Hello everyone and welcome back to the Toolroom Academy YouTube channel for our second live broadcast. Hello everyone. Doing live A&R feedback. Academy YouTube channel. Excuse me, I can hear myself talking. Doing live A&R. I just got a feedback ring there of myself. That had to happen. Technology, right?
It's live.
We were live. Proves we were live. I had it open so I could see you guys on chat. So anyway, guys, welcome back. Thanks for joining us again. We had our very first live broadcast last week. Matt Smallwood joined us here listening to your demos. It was an amazing session. We had some really, really cool music. And Matt actually signed a track on the spot as well, which was amazing. This week, however, we've got a legendary guest joining us here live at Toolroom HQ. Somewhere in the building. It's Mr. Friend Within. Thank you very much for joining us.
Pleasure to be here.
We are honoured, mate. We are honoured. So, Friend Within is here. We're going to be listening to your demos. We've taken a random selection of demos that have been submitted to us through Label Radar. We're going to be listening to them live here and giving you our feedback, our thoughts on how your tracks sound, perhaps any creative thoughts, anything that we feel perhaps you could try to help move them on, push them on a little bit. And I do want to say, first of all, thanks to everyone who submits their demos. You know, we know it can be a scary thing sometimes to put your work out there, stuff you've been pouring your heart and soul into. But this is the sort of thing you need to do. Take opportunities, push yourself, get your music out there, get it heard, all right? But I do want to say thank you very much. And of course, you know, everything that we're here to give you feedback on, it's subjective as well. A lot of it is artistic choice, but we've got a lot of experience between us from a music production point of view, A&R, and just being in the music industry for quite a while, all right? So we're here to give you some thoughts and feedback. So do jump on chat. I'll make sure I've got my volume muted on the YouTube playback so we can see what you guys are saying on messages, okay? Support each other as well on the records. When we're playing them, keep it positive, keep it friendly, okay? And we shall dive in. First of all, though, mate, congratulations on the new release on Pilka. Absolutely smashing it.
Yeah, really happy with it.
Reaction's been wicked as well, hasn't it?
Yeah, Shazam's all over the show.
It's loving it, mate. Loving it. And it's proper. It's got a little bit of that old school vibes as well, which I'm loving. That's a bit of me. The 90s stuff. But yeah, thank you very much for coming in and joining us, mate.
It's nice in here. Nice little room, yeah. Let's
it's
listen
nice,
to some music,
isn't it? It's nice. Let's do it, shall we? Shall we dive into the first one?
Yeah.
Right, so the first track we have here is by Jake Marvel called Hit the Club. So we shall dive in here. I'll tell you what, I'll double check just very quickly. My settings are all okay. What we'll do as well, there might be places where I might just skip through a little bit. We'll listen to the majority of the track, but just so we can get through more, I might just needle drop a little bit, just skip through occasionally, all right? But let's do this, Jake. Let's go with the first one. Jake,
Very
that's
good.
wicked, man. Really, really, really cool, wasn't it? Vibes.
Yeah, that was great.
Proper vibes.
Sounded really good.
Yeah, it knows where it is. Like we were both like, this is 9 a.m. terrace.
Yeah.
After party vibes. Been going a long time. Sunglasses are on now. Very hypnotic though, isn't it? And dreamy.
Yeah.
In its vibe.
Those pads, and maybe there's too much of the pads the whole way. Maybe to decide where they're best used.
Yeah. I think you're right. I think the sounds you've got, Jake, are lovely. They're really, really nice. But I think the first half was very pad heavy, wasn't it?
Yeah.
But we've also had the vocal, the stab that was coming up in the break, then the stab coming through in that first section after the break. Then we switched to the bass stab. And that, I think when we switched to the bass stab, that was when the pads came out, wasn't it?
I really like that bass stab.
Yeah,
that could be more of a thing for me.
Yeah.
Maybe brought up in the mix a bit more and a bit more of a tack on it. Like, you feel it.
Yeah, you need to feel it. And it's not about making it higher energy, just that the listener really gets that sound as that is the lead. Yeah.
It needs to be more sort of clear sections. You can't just have a big wash of pad.
Yeah.
Constantly let the other things take center stage at some points.
Yeah, it might just be a one too many things trying to send the message home. I think that's what it is. I think it's an arrangement thing on this, Jake. I think you've got really nice parts. At first, when we've got to the first break, I was saying to Friend Within, I was saying I wonder if the vocals could come out a little bit more. But you were right. You were like, actually, being a little bit washed out, being a bit floaty, a bit hypnotic, it suits the vibe.
Yeah, it's just the texture really, the vocal. It's not like you have to hear every single word for me.
It's not trying to be a really pushing out lead.
But then if you got the pads kind of doing the same thing as well, you don't need all of it.
I think so. It might be that very first drop out the break that you don't even need the pads.
Yeah.
And you just have that other small gentle stab with the vocal. Then we build up and switch to the bass stab, and then pads back towards the break or in the break.
Yeah.
Could just be a more break thing.
There was quite, after the first drop, there's quite a few, like where the beat drops out. Maybe a few too many.
Yeah. So it could be a little bit less on that. I agree. Yeah, a little bit less. I think you do first 16 bars after the first drop. You do like a 2 or 4 bar high pass section, but then you do it again every sort of 4 or 8 bars. It might be a bit OTT that.
A little bit.
Simplify it. It's just simplifying a few little things. I think that's really good, really accomplished, Jake. In terms of a style, it's bang on where it's trying to be style-wise.
Mix sounds good.
Yeah.
We weren't sure about the vinyl crackle.
Yes.
Start.
Yeah. The vinyl crackle.
I don't mind a vinyl crackle like in a breakdown where things are a bit quieter. Don't really need to hear it when there's sort of beats going.
No, I think it's a very people just put it in and think it adds atmosphere, but I think it's a fine line now where we're at in this more digital era now, isn't it? Maybe it's like sometimes some people see those, and again, this can be a taste thing. It's not everyone's right or wrong, but I think we both felt the same of that. It's like, is it too try hard as a gimmick?
Yeah,
to maybe make it be heard in the groove when just save it for a little bit.
Yeah, it's maybe not the kind of track that needs it. If you're making something that was like a 90s house vibe, where it would be on vinyl in the 90s, it would get the crackle. But this type of tune. Yeah, man. I don't need it.
I agree. I think that's it. Honestly, Jake, great stuff. What a great start.
Yeah, mix was good. Sounded good.
Let's dive in and grab another one, shall we? From the random pot. Just bear with me while I load another one. Yeah, really good stuff. What a great start there, man. Really, really cool. I love it. Yeah, thanks again, guys, for everyone who's submitting these, everyone who's watching as well. I've got my volume muted now. Let's just go and check it out. I think I actually closed it in panic. In sheer panic, I just shut it down straight away of hearing my voice come back round on loop. If I do this again, it's going to come through, isn't it? I was going to jump on and check out your chat settings. I'll do it in a minute. Right, so next up, we've got Aaron Anthony with a track called Where Did You Go? All right, let's do this. Let's roll.
you on my side. Oh, I just need you to be right, and I need you on my side. Where did you go?
Man, really nice.
The bass line.
Yeah.
It's all about that bass thing.
It's all about that bass line for us. We were both hooked on that bass line. It's like fast, catchy melody, the twanginess, if that's a real word we could use of it as well.
Good thick bass line there.
Yeah.
I like that.
It had a nice vibe to it. Down, 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 down. It's a bit of funk, but there's an attitude in there.
Yeah.
And it's really cool. That's what pulled us in. But what's quite interesting is we were both the same. When you had that string stabs going da, da, it was like that was quite a strong message that you were sending us in the last part of that intro, all the way through the first break. It didn't really build as a sound in the first break, and then it went on the drop, and then all these other sounds came in from the drop for the next. Let's do my maths. 24 bars, I think that is. I think you've got a 24 bar midsection. We had a lot of musical sounds,
a lot of like synths, and this for me the string didn't necessarily go with the synths. They're two very different types of thing. I think that little string hit could maybe just get rid of that, or
I don't think it's needed.
Yeah.
I honestly don't think it's needed. I think the idea can be simplified because on that drop we had the like the horns, like da da ba ba ba, and then we had some other light sounds that were answering as well, like these little keys.
Yeah.
Quite a lot of information, whereas I actually don't think you need all of that information. I actually think when you've got a killer bass line, a great vocal, by the way, really nice vocal, less is more.
A lot of those synths they were battling for the same sort of frequencies, and they would overlap a bit. You could maybe just have each bit shorter and in its own little pocket in terms of like frequencies and in terms of like where it is in arrangement. Some of them kind of, sometimes you feel like you need to lead into another sound with like, reverb or release, but you could just kind of cut it off and bring the next one in. And that'd have a bit more impact. There's a lot of different synths in the drop.
That drop, that first 8 bars, we had all the horns and stuff, then some keys answering, and we were just like, it could be simpler, because that bass line, when it kicked back in, we were like, you're rocking to that, and that sort of horns, ba 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 ba, then just let it breathe for a bit, and then maybe bring some stuff in. And it was the same when some of the vocal, I think you brought some vocal chops in, and that's like, okay, if you're bringing that vocal in as a hook, the chopped version of it, let it do its thing, and it came in and was looping, but then some synth started coming over again, and then that vocal stopped again. Let that vocal do its thing, let it breathe. Honestly, that's really cool. Wicked vibe there, Aaron, and I just think simplify it. It can be hard that when you've been producing something for a while to see that, and that we hear it the first time and just go, wow, groove, vocal, brilliant, just a bit too busy. Because the vocal was wicked in the second break, wasn't it?
I was going to say that. There's maybe could have more of that vocal in the first break. Possibly
without the string sort of trying to make us feel as the lead. It could be the vocal.
And there was like a held string as well, wasn't there? In the breakdowns. I'd think about if that's fully needed. I don't know.
I think when you've got a wicked groove and a few sounds, let the vocal breathe and do its thing, and just simplify it a little bit.
Because the bass has it's got its own rhythm. Maybe a lot of the other synths, they don't have a sort of rhythmical element. They're kind of long, Yeah, you can maybe think about just making them shorter and punchier.
Yeah.
Some of them.
Simplify. Just simplify it all, man. Really good. Wicked stuff, Aaron. Really cool stuff,
nice
mate.
little mix was good again. Yeah.
Yeah. Really good. Really well done, man. Right, let's grab another one.
We're just going to say simplify for the next.
Yeah, we're going to try not to just say the same thing. All right, guys?
Yeah.
Right.
It's true, though, isn't it? In a lot of cases.
It is. I think it is.
I can learn from that myself. I often throw too much stuff at things. And then sometimes just coming away from a track for a while, the next day, listen back to it with fresh ears. That's when I find that I've maybe done too much.
Yeah. It's definitely after a break, isn't it?
Yeah.
For me, it has to be quite a while.
Same.
Quite a long time. Like, not even the next day and stuff. Like, sometimes I leave projects for weeks.
Yeah. So that's the same for me. Like, just so you've forgotten what the arrangement's like.
Yeah.
Don't look at the waveform either.
Yeah.
I mean, even now I can see a waveform on your computer.
So you'll start to like have, I can't think what the word is, but yeah, you're overthinking before you've even heard it.
Yeah.
Yeah, totally, man. Long gaps between it, and if you can, get feedback from someone you trust. Not just a close family member that will just tell you, or a best mate that will just be like, "That's amazing. It's amazing." You need some honest feedback. Yeah. You really do. Right. So next one we've got here is Roland. If it's Lan, I think, with Saxo Scratch. Shorter edit here. It's only 2 minutes long, but let's see what we have got. Going for my little fade in. Do you like my fade ins?
I like it, mate.
That is wicked. I hope I'm saying that right, Roland. That's really cool vibe there. Do you know what? A really interesting short edit. Literally, the version we've got is 2 minutes. I think it would have been great to actually hear an extended club mix of that to really be able to feel it and feel what was going on, because we love the vibe of it. The grooves, wicked. I mean, that both of us, you straight away when this bit here.
When you got that sax, and then that goes out, and then that wacka wacka whack comes in. That's what we mean about giving elements room to breathe. Like you could have had both of them on top of each other for the whole 4 bars, 8 bars. But when you just got one happening there, one happening there,
when they're good sounds and they work together, totally. It's like that's old school house. That's wicked, which just works. It just works.
That comes from just. You haven't got a computer to arrange every little bit. You basically just got to turn things on and off. That's what how house music was made.
Yeah.
And that's going back to those.
It is going back to those days. It's just like wicked groove, great sax. And I think it's it's weird for us to comment and feedback on the arrangement because it's quite short, and it felt like that. It felt a bit abrupt, like on the build-up and dropped, and then we went down to that second little drop, came back up, and then went to this cool bit of groove that we love. I think to hear a sort of 5.5, 6 minute version, that would have been really cool.
Yeah, that first breakdown, the beat just sort of came in quite suddenly. That you could make more of that, but again, that's an arrangement thing, which
thin things out in the build-up more, take away the bottom end, reverb that sax. Then when it all kicks back in,
there was a vocal bit in the breakdown that sort of builds up, and then there's a weird, like, it pitches up.
Yeah,
we weren't sure on that whether it needed that.
I don't think it does.
Yeah,
I think on the first break,
this bit, I wasn't 100% convinced it was in key as well. I'm not sure.
I think as it pitches, there's one spot where it might go tiny little bit iffy with the sax, isn't it? But the thing is, you've got quite a cool vocal, like a spoken word vocal. It's like saying, I'm going to do that, and he talks about house later. I feel that works with the vibe of the sax more than the pitching one, doesn't it? Yeah. It just feels like it's at home more. And again, I think in that first break, I'm sort of following the sax, a little bit of the drum groove, the male vocal, but then that is like distracting me.
Yeah.
It's almost like when you're trying to concentrate on a conversation and someone's talking there and you're sort of going and looking over a bit and you just want to be focused on that one, I think. Yeah.
But when it kicks in, it's a great groove.
It's wicked.
Yeah.
It's really, really cool. I really like that, Roland. That's great. Honestly, it's similar sort of feedback. I think simplify it. I don't think you need that pitchy vocal.
Yeah.
And go for a longer version of it. And don't be afraid. Don't be afraid to copy someone's arrangement.
I was literally just gonna say that. Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? To learn. And it's like, don't we even still do that now?
Yeah.
Like look at other arrangements.
Yeah, absolutely.
We do. There's no denying it. You know, it doesn't matter how successful an artist is. If you're a bit stuck and it's like, well, this is a bit like that record, or even if you've been referencing a track, or it might take a bit of research to go and find something that's the vibe of yours, and then just look at their arrangement. If it's a successful track, there's probably something in the arrangement that helps it.
It's surprising how long you can make sort of breakdowns as well. Just really like stretch it out and build the tension. And I mean, that Pilker is an example of that. The breakdown's like a minute and a half or something. It's really, really long. Just like stretch it out.
But so that means it's the tension building in that.
Yeah.
And it is really just like reverb and automation of things thinning out, some filtering. But you just build tension. So when it kicks in, people literally just lose their heads at that moment when it kicks in. It's the old school way, but it's still the way. It's still the way that works. Yeah. So look at something else maybe to pinch on arrangement on that. But wicked stuff. The groove, everything. We were loving the sax, weren't we? Yeah. Really, really cool.
Yeah.
Really enjoyed that.
Yeah, I remember that sax and the little baka afterwards.
Yeah.
That was good.
Yeah, definitely. It's still in my head, the sax. Which is wicked.
Yeah.
Okay, right. I'm loading the next one in. And I've got DJ Gaston. That is intriguing me. Don't know why. Something named Gaston.
He was in Beauty and the Beast, wasn't he? Gaston.
Was Gaston in Beauty and the Beast?
Yeah.
I think it's something to do with what my kids watch. It's making me think of that. But it's really, that's a cool name. I like it. Let me now dance house music. I don't know if that's the full title, the working title, but let's dive in. 124. Is it 124? I like to be on the grid. It's nice to see that we're dropping on the grids and stuff. Right. Let's do this. Oh, I didn't fade in. We're fade up. DJ Gaston,
Nice.
Let Me Now Dance House Music. That groove there, where we are now with that organ, is wicked, but it threw us. It really threw us because you've actually got a very different intro. It's like two different tracks, two different halves with the approach of this one. But this, what you've got here, that funky bass line, then suddenly you switch in the build.
Yeah. It's like two bass lines competing.
And then I don't know if you then fade the other one out eventually, but that groove there...
The first bass line is still
Is
there
it still
underneath.
It's still underneath as well.
Yeah.
But that's your bass. That's your bass and your organ right there. Start that off as the bass line. That's the organ. It literally, you could just almost just take what you've got working in this record and rebuild it with that organ. Don't save it and just suddenly bring that up right at the end of the build up. That's the tune, isn't it? Right there. It's wicked, and
then on some of you got the build up and then the drop. You could, before the drop, take out a load of elements, just build for like 2 bars, and really build that tension to when it kicks in,
and then kicks back in,
because everything sort of washes over the drop, and you got that sort of long sort of delay tail going on.
You actually lose some of the power of that drop moment, don't you? That actual point.
You could have that tail take everything out and have that tail before the drop. And then kick in with the beats. It'd be much stronger. But yeah, honestly, it was like, and your intro as well. You've got a 2-minute intro, very, very long with that first bass line. We were like, when's something coming in? Are you going to bring a hook element in? That first break, I think it was a little bit too slow with the, too long for having the energy so low. I think you want to build things up quicker, but I would rethink this, Gaston, with the actual organ is what you actually start to filter up before that first break. And that's what comes out in that first break. The first break, 16 bars long max, build it up, bam, you are rocking. And then it's all about where you go from there in the second build up. But, I mean, your suggestion when we were listening to that, I thought was ace. Just layer it with a piano. Yeah. I thought it was just crying out for a little... ding 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 ding, something like that.
Yeah,
just bring
it could
that
be
in.
If you didn't want to do a piano, just any kind of like bright synth.
Yeah,
that sits on top of the organ, but just follows the melody as the next layer, as the next element that really brings it to life.
Yeah, there probably is space something higher up.
Yeah,
that goes with that organ sound. The organ sound, that's a sort of low
could
end.
be high, could be strings. It could be a piano.
I think something you could just keep that rhythm.
Yeah,
another sound to keep that rhythm.
Because the rhythm's really good, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's hooky. It's very, very hooky. It's quite simple, which often are the best ways. Again, a lot of people tapping into this old school sort of 90s vibe at the moment, which is wicked. I'm all for that. Yeah. I'm totally all for that. And like that bit with the vocal that was looping on it as well. It sounded like a female vocal. It's going da 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 da. That's a really cool part as well. So think about that as one of your focal parts and when you use it. Again, what I would do, honestly, is no harm in it, even if it's just for learning, is find a similar sort of successful organ house track and look at the arrangement, bring it into your project, see when they're going into breaks, when they're doing their drops. There's nothing wrong with that.
Monkey Bars by Friend Within is one you could do.
You've got permission there to actually use the arrangement of Monkey Bars. So get stuck in. Get stuck in. Let's keep it going, man. Let's keep it moving. Love it. Great vibe, though. Great vibe.
Sounded good.
And don't forget, guys, as well, in the chat, make sure to keep it positive. Let's support people. We might not be feeling other people's music, but what we're all looking for as producers, every one of us, even if we're leaving comments on other people's music, we're looking for that more supportive. That's what we're all about at the Academy. Producers in general, it's a community. So support each other, Everyone's at different stages in their production journey as well. We're all learning at different times, so make sure we keep that nice and positive. Right, bear with me while I load the next one in. My laptop's been a little bit slow today as well, which is scaring me.
Do you fade in?
I'll do my fade in. Thanks for reminding me. Make sure we start. So all those years as a commercial wedding DJ paid off. That's where I learnt my fade-ins. Right, next one we've got James Stark. Hope you're well, mate. Called Dance All Night. Let's do this. Awesome stuff, James. That's really cool, man.
Yeah.
Really cool, isn't it? Really well produced record.
Yeah, I thought that was, and I heard like a lot of some good sort of stereo imaging going on. There's things going on in that speaker and that speaker.
Yeah.
And that really keeps you interested.
Yeah.
And when something's just right down the middle, it's a bit more one-dimensional. But when
there was definitely
literally
some nice stereo spread on that. Really good stuff, man. Yeah, you can hear a lot of time and work's gone into that with the production. The vibe is really nice. It's really fun. It's really uplifting. The vocal's really nice as well. I like that vocal. The vocalist has got a really good sound. I think this is really good. For us, things we could offer you feedback on are quite high level now, really, in this sort of stuff. It's going into more detailed stuff that can help sort of add an extra 5-10% here in places.
Yeah.
I think. And some of it might be giving some things a bit of space now and then. in that arrangement, in that mix.
There could be sort of fewer things going on in some of the breakdown a little bit. There's kind of a lot of things still in there. We thought like the piano, you could filter that right down in the breakdown.
Yeah,
maybe
could.
Maybe get rid of it, so when it kicks back in, it's more of a thing.
It sits back a little bit, but I think you're right. I think that piano, because then you'd really take notice of Dance All Night. You'd really take notice of the vocal, but we've still got the piano hanging in there, the hat and the clap hanging in there. You know, and when you get to the second one and the snare roll starts, you do quickly fade out the hat and the clap, the last part of the build. But I think the second break, the first part of it, can be a bit more like dramatic in what changes and what's gone, to really make the listeners take note and have a moment. Don't be scared of like going into a break and it's just the kick and the bass and the piano's not there and the vocal, because they're strong parts and everyone will take note, and then slowly bring some stuff in. But I
thought the piano itself could be a bit harder, a bit more of a, just like squash it with a compressor, and
a bit more maybe like the sound.
I mean, the old classic M1 piano, like that sort of classic house piano sound. You could,
or the F9 ones. I agree. I feel like the piano sound and the melody was really nice, but actually that sound could be a little bit more aggressive, saturated, attacky. Just
it's a bit soft the way it is. It could be,
it's ever so slightly delicate,
a bit punchier. I think.
Yeah,
you could definitely get away. There's definitely space for it in there.
Yeah, I agree. I think a little bit more work to that piano sound, James. Just get that a little bit more in your face.
More of an attack on it, and I mean, I properly like squash my pianos to the inch of their lives.
Nice.
And then you could like gate it afterwards. You know,
is that really, your thing with sounds like that? Just really, really like compress and
smash it. I mean, the Ableton grand piano setting is really good.
Have you used that on a few tracks?
Yeah, definitely use that.
Oh, wicked.
And then just throw whatever you want after it.
Yeah,
there's never too much.
I love it. It's no rules sometimes.
Says, you know, just
oh yes,
just smack it with the compressors.
Well, there you go. Try it. Give it a go. Look, you know, it works for Friend Within. We all know that. His records are sounding ace. So,
and there's a little string as well that sort of followed the piano later on. That could have a bit more attack as well.
Yeah, because that string was in on the second drop, which I kind of get. It was like throw everything at it. But where it was a little bit lighter and looser, it had less impact when you want the impact on the second drop. So I know what you mean.
It was quite busy at times. I think it could just follow that piano.
Yeah.
Exactly what the piano's doing. It had a few other little notes that maybe didn't need in there, I think.
So small things here, man. Small things, James.
Arrangement was good.
Arrangement was good. It's just a little bit of space for things in places. A little bit of, shall we say, aggression and oomph to that piano sound. And that'll really be, honestly, that'll be really high quality. Really high quality. Good stuff, man.
Good work.
Well done. Loving this. Let's keep it going. We've got time for a few more. Right, what have we got here? Let's pull one in. These are selected at random, by the way. So from our label radar, Toolroom and Toolroom Academy submissions, we grab some at random. By a third party. I'm nothing to do with it, so I don't know what we're playing when it comes to it. Just so you know, there is no bias here. Okay, right. The next one is Two Minds Together. Do you like that? So I wonder if that's a collaboration, perhaps. Right. I'm going to make sure my grid's on point. Oh, we're going up to 128 here.
Here we go.
Here we go. Right, let's do this.
bring it right back. They wonder how I do it like that. Two-step, then I bring it right back. No scarf, got ice on the neck. 7-foot flex on the checks on deck. They wonder how I do it like that. Two-step, then I bring it right back. No scarf, got ice on the neck. 7-foot flex on the checks on deck. Do it like that. Two-step, then I bring it right back. Do it like that. Two-step, then I bring it right back. Do it like that. They wonder how I do it like that. Ice on the neck. Do it like that. Two-step, then I bring it right back.
Two minds together. That groove, that is wicked.
Yeah.
Again, we're tapping into the 90s vibe. I can't get enough of that. I mean, we're 90s fans, aren't we?
Yeah.
It's
I
our
mean,
era.
kicking the bass and the beats, they're really working them. They sound spot on to me.
The kick's just got that thud, hasn't it?
Yeah.
Real cool thud. And I loved the whole organ and the bass line. Really, really cool. And I think before we actually even heard that first sort of riff pattern that came in, we were both sort of not 100% sure on some of the sort of little effect sounds you were using. And it was one that was like a jazzy synth, wasn't it? Like a jazzy electro sort of synth. It felt to us like when we kicked in, I think it was at 1 minute, and the groove was really rocking. It felt like you were trying quite hard, which is, it's not the wrong approach at all, but to feel and make it interesting with these little sounds happening every sort of 4 bars and stuff. And I don't know if they're actually vibe-wise what you need, because you've actually got all these other riffs and stuff that's coming in. I don't think you need those jazzy electro
they didn't
sounds.
really fit with me. You got this sort of
Tough
bass line, and you got this jazzy synth going on, and there's a lot of riffs, like in the breakdown, the sort of acidy sort of Darude Sandstorm.
We went quite a few places,
and then the other riff comes on top of it. There's a lot of,
and then I think
like
3 different things all start like pitching up in the build as well, and it was a bit like whoa. And we might be sounding a bit like a broken record today, but it's simplify. Honestly, you could simplify this, because I think just like you said, that groove,
that
kick, that clap, bass line, organ, it's wicked.
See that little that doesn't fit for me. I think
it's
that's
more like
sort
of jazzy electro, like wow, like the old what are they called?
Pitch bend,
the pitch bend, and all of that. It's I don't think you need that, because then when we get, that's more of the era of the vibe, that riff, and all the vocal,
I really like the main drop though. When that's what I was saying about when a lot of things take things away and it's just the vocal and then it kicks in.
Yeah,
that just gives you that.
That was really cool, and it stops. And I like that switch. I actually like that. Melody wise, it is quite spaced out and quite slow, so you're slowing everything down, which is cool. But then you keep it going and bring in the other one. And this is where I think, and the vocal, and I think there needs to be a different think out here of the switch. I like this one when we first go into the break, but to then go back to and the vocal, then you switch this one and play it faster. It's like it's a bit Darude.
Yeah.
Bit Darude, Sandstorm. And that's not a bad thing, by the way.
No.
It's like one thing too many. I think it's wicked that you're building the energy, like really pushing the energy in that build. We've got the organ bass, even though it's just held on that one note. But then we've got do it like that, do it like that. This riff from earlier and the Darude one. And then they all start pitching. It's great energy. I just think it's one probably riff too many.
Yeah.
Do you think?
I think so, yeah.
Simplify. You're right, that drop.
They wonder how I do it like that. Two-step, then I bring it right back.
I mean,
Yeah,
I'm one of these people that's always unsure of fake drops when you have that gap and then come back to just kick and then bring it in. But that's a personal taste thing. But that actually works.
I'm same actually. I'm
unsure of them. I think it's the old school DJ in me that it was just like when it was going to kick in, I wanted to just.
I'm a bit like that as well,
go.
actually. Yeah, I'm not. Again, it's personal taste, but yeah, I'm not a huge fan of just the kick and the bass and a little something else coming in.
And then the hats come back like a bar later. I don't think you need it personally. It's not because of personal taste, but because you're already doing this gap and the kick roll. Dun, 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 dun. I've just felt like we were going to go for it then.
Yeah.
I think you can. That's already quite a big theme and a bit of something different that's fun. Then just kick in with that.
Yeah, I think you can go in with all the beats at that point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool though, man.
That's what I would do.
Really cool. So, again, it's a simplify thing, honestly. I just think it's just a little bit messy in that middle part. A bit busy, maybe is probably the right word. But great sound choice. Like on the riffs and stuff like that. The sounds that you're using for that vibe with that kick and that organ in that sort of 90s vibe. It's cool.
Yeah.
It's wicked, man. All right, let's get another one in, shall we? So, where shall we go? Right, I've got... Just bringing this in.
Who have we got next?
C Loco. C Loco is next.
Okay. As long as BPM are we on?
Oh, let's have a look. Right, it's saying 124.5. I think my Ableton has not sussed that at all. I reckon you're 124. Yeah, it's got to be 124. Maybe you couldn't decide between 124 and 125 and went midway. Right, C Loco, let's do it. Nice one, C Loco. Thanks for sending that in. Another great vibe. Honestly, guys, all the vibes that you've creating here with your tracks, everyone's got their own thing going on, but everyone's just got this instant feeling.
The beat on that is spot on. I love the clap and all the other little percussions going on.
Yeah, drums are really nice, aren't they?
Drums are great. I really like the drums.
Drums are nice. And I like that. I really like the sound and the actual melody of your bass line.
Yeah.
There's something really addictive to that. Again, it's tapping into a sort of old school synth sound, but sounding modern. I really liked it. Although we noticed when we dropped, when it kicked back in, we were missing that real low end of the bass, weren't we?
It seemed to the low end was there in the breakdown, but then when it kicked in, the bass the low end seemed to disappear.
Yeah.
I don't know what's happened there.
It's interesting. Exactly. I don't know what you've done, whatever you've made that bass line out of. If you've got the MIDI, then just replicate the MIDI, do yourself a little sub layer in whatever basic synth. Honestly, even if you're using Ableton, even Ableton's built-in operator is really good just for subs, isn't it?
Yeah, I use that all the time.
Is that what you use?
There's a really good, what's it called? It's this free little patch someone's done called Subs You Can Hear. It's by some guy, he does like online tutorials called Seed to Stage. He does really good videos, and it's just a little free thing that he gives away.
Oh,
it's just a little thing with like 8 macros, and you can like turn up some more harmonics, turn them down, like compress it, and it's just like 8 knobs, and you can just get it exactly how you want it. I just use that for like any sort of subs. Yeah, get it underneath that sort of acidy bass line. Just have that rolling the whole way.
That's what it needs, isn't it? It just needed that oomph, that real low end oomph when it kicked in. Again, interesting arrangement. It's like we've got a 4.5 minute edit, and I was a bit like, we've got a very long break. Your actual break is what looks like 48 bars, similar to Pilka. But then when we've dropped, let's go for the long breaks. The long breaks and builds are wicked.
I like the long break.
But we drop, and then we're done 32 bars later. So again, I'd look at the arrangement. Very gutsy when you first go into that break, going down to like nothing, a tension thing for a full 8 bars, and then bringing that bassline melody back in. I think you could make more of a thing when that bassline melody kicks in. Kick it in a bit more in your face, a bit louder. The one thing we were unsure of was the actual key of the vocal.
Yeah.
It sounded to us, it doesn't sound like it's miles off, but I just think it might be a little bit off key-wise in a couple of places.
Yeah. It's hard to, and when it repeats so often, like, it does kind of stand out a bit more for me. Get it through pitch correction thing. Check what key that bass line is in.
Yeah.
And yeah, if you have, I know it's expensive, but if you have Melodyne, then I use that all the time.
Yeah.
Yeah, loads of times. And even when you get like samples and sample packs and things, that they can be a bit off.
Yeah.
And that might be, I don't know where that vocal's from, but it could be.
Yeah.
Could be a bit off.
Yeah, it might be.
That'll make a world of difference.
It might be where some of those notes are going on the bass line. If you can see that, like I say, it might be that you're working with a sample, a loop, who knows, which is cool if you are. But if you can see the actual MIDI and see exactly where that bass line's going, and then check the vocal with Melodyne, it's not screaming obvious to me, but it just feels like there's something there.
Yeah.
Something there, but...
There's a tune... There's a tuner in Ableton. That's not really great for vocals.
Oh, it's
though.
hit and miss,
that's
isn't it,
more
that
for like
one?
if you just got one note.
Yeah, it can be
Yeah,
hit
that
and miss
wouldn't be-
tuner.
I think there's some free things out there. There's free tuning software things.
Yeah, have a look into it, man.
Can't remember
But
what they're called.
again, another really cool track. Great vibe. I would do I'd definitely extend after that second drop. Make
Could it
this
just be
like
an edit
5.5
this?
minute. Yeah,
Could it just
it
been
might
an
just
edit?
be an edit for this. Who knows? But I'd extend that a little bit, and then I'd look at that bass is the main thing for this. Is
Yeah.
the main thing. A little thing as well. You do it right near the end of your builds, but that second main break, when the vocal's looping and really going for it, you leave it till quite late. Just the last couple of bars, like 1 or 2 bars before we drop, where you sort of start to then fade away the bass line and some of the drums. I would do that sooner. I'd have your last 8 bars of that build where everything's more going and all the swell of the vocal looping, the snare roll, your risers, they're the main thing, and take away everything else a little bit sooner. So, because it's got that slight old school feel, and when it kicks in, it all slams in, and everyone will lose their heads.
Yeah. Get that sub going on that.
It's all about the sub, isn't it?
Yeah.
Excellent stuff though, man. That is really, really cool. Great work. Honestly, really, really good work. I'm afraid that's all we've got time for today, guys. But I just want to say thank you so, so much for tuning in and bringing your music as well. Like I said at the start, it can be quite nervy sending your music in, being played out here on a live stream to the public, to us here at Toolroom, an artist like Friend Within. But honestly, massive, massive respect to you all. But also just, big ups. Honestly, these tracks sound really, really cool. Really like what you're all doing. You've got to just keep going for it. And of course, we're going to be here every single Wednesday now as well. So anyone else who's watching this and is like, okay, I'm up for this, I might send a track in, do it, okay? We pick by random each week, play those tracks out live. Just submit what is your best work, all right? Don't try and upload 5, 10 tracks thinking that's a better way to get heard. Just what you think is your best track that you've put some work into for a while, okay? Upload that each week if you want to, and we will be here checking it out. Thanks so much for joining us, man.
Thanks for having me. I really enjoyed it.
It's wicked having you here.
Good talent out there.
There is, isn't there?
Yeah.
Some really good stuff
really
out
impressed.
there. Yeah, really, really impressed. Next week, joining me in the hot seat is the one and only Ellis Moss as well. Great artist, producer, who's going to be sitting here joining me to give you guys feedback as well on your demos. So make sure you tune in for that one as well. Any little bits of goss you can fill us in on? What's coming? What are you working on at the moment?
Well, gigs wise, I'm in America and Mexico next week.
Amazing.
A little holiday afterwards as well in Cancun.
Oh wow!
Yeah.
A tour into holiday.
Yeah,
probably need that.
It's the way to do it
afterwards. So,
yeah, and then got Ministry of Sound coming up. Got another EP on
Wicked.
Shall Not Fade
Amazing.
coming out. Got
Very
my other
busy.
alias Too Far Gone. Look out for that one. Yeah. So Alan Fitzpatrick's signed some
That's
tunes to his
wicked.
label. Yeah.
That's wicked. Awesome.
Yeah. He's the other guy in the videos. It's me. Too Far Gone.
It's Too Far Gone who keeps poking his head in
It's
and
him,
getting
yeah.
interfering with your tracks.
That annoying sod. Yeah.
Maybe we'll get him in next time in a few weeks.
I'll go and get him.
Go get him. See if he's got some different thoughts on everyone's records. He might be totally opposite.
He's a lot nastier.
Oh, I love that. I love that. That's wicked, man. Very busy then. Very, very busy.
Yeah,
That's
good week.
awesome, man. Where are you going first in the States?
LA.
Nice.
That's on it's like a sort of disco type party on Thursday, and then San Diego Friday,
Wicked.
and then this place it's like 3 hours north of Mexico City. It's like in these hills with these like hot water springs. It looks incredible. Where this it's like a 1 day can't even call it a festival, but I think it's an outdoor event.
Wicked. Oh, you know that's going to be great vibes.
It's going to be
That'll
nuts.
be wicked.
It's going to be nuts, I think.
Good stuff, man. Good
Yeah.
stuff. Well, look, make sure you follow him on Instagram if you don't already. Hilarious, brilliant content. And just to see what he's up to on his travels, see how those gigs go, and see what Too Far Gone's saying as well. He just seems to appear sometimes, doesn't he? Out of nowhere.
He's never far away.
He's never far away. Yeah, thanks again, man, for joining us.
Yeah,
and thanks
cheers,
everyone for
Pete.
tuning in. Okay, be sure to come back and join us again next Wednesday. And also make sure you like and subscribe to the channel. Fresh content coming your way. Production tips, loads of the big tourum artists as well. But as ever, we'll be back here next Wednesday for our next live A&R session. All right, so thanks everyone, and we'll catch you then.
Goodbye.